Good day, everybody. It's Josh here, and this particular video is going to be dedicated to the collective consciousness, if you will, and my scientific reason for believing in the collective consciousness. And so many of the different theories and beliefs that we have, let's just take YouTube for example. There are many different groups of people who believe many different things, and I'm not talking about religious beliefs. I'm talking about beliefs about where we're from, as far as whether or not we're genetically altered, or if aliens have visited us in the past and created us in their image, or if we are really able to, let's say, use psychic, powers, or to read people's minds. Any of these kind of ethereal type things are very difficult to prove. And this is why science has had such a hard time proving anything that has to do with what can't be physically touched or measured. So as we start to come up with new devices to measure things, we start to find many of the thoughts that we have were either true or false. And one of them is this idea of the collective consciousness, that we affect the world around us, but not just that the world around us affects us. And to the point that we are aware of what's going to happen before it happens, say a premonition or intuition, if you will. There are two pieces of evidence that have come to light that have shown that this is true. One of them is the random number generator. Now, for those who already know, this is probably nothing new to you, but random number generators are basically machines that produce ones and zeros. They set them up all around the world. And there's I'll have to find the people that do it. I'll try to post a link, but there's a program. I guess if you just Google random number generator, you'll see that these random number generators produce an equal amount of ones and zeros. They just randomly select ones and zeros. Work on a binary type system. Sometimes something affects them to where they produce more ones or more zeros, showing that there was an external force. Now this can be caused by electromagnetism or various things, but right before 9/11 happened, about 4 hours before 9/11, the random number generator started to jump up and to go crazy. And they peaked out at about the time when the planes hit the towers, and then dropped off. And this is just one event, but this has happened through many worldwide events or major events. It also happened before the tsunami, that big tsunami. And I haven't looked into it extremely deep, because I'm still at the mercy of, reading. You can only read so much about it. But I think that this is enough to show people, if they're willing to accept it is scientific evidence, that we really do affect our environment, but not only that, but we are aware of what's going to happen before it happens, even though we don't know it. We also have this one thing to consider, which is we have see, how do I put this? We have the observer effect, which is kind of hard to explain unless you understand quantum physics, which I don't. But I do understand that when a person observes a particle or a wave, let's say, you take the double slit experiment. It's where they shine light through two slits in a paper, or a slit in a paper, and it creates... I'm not going to try to explain it, because it's just... You'll know what I'm talking about or you won't. What they've shown is that if the observer is looking to see a wave, they will see a wave, or if they are looking to see a particle, they will see a particle, that type of thing. And the argument went on for, forever about whether or not light was a particle or a wave. And then they find out that it depends on how you observe it. On the quantum level, on the very, 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 very small, quantum is, we're talking about atoms, atomic level, beyond atomic level, actually. You have certain behaviors that change according to how a person observes. The observer effect has driven scientists nuts, and they don't like to talk about it because it shows that the intention of the person holding the experiment can often dictate the outcome of the experiment. Now, if this is true, it casts a major doubt on science itself. If two people can hold the same experiment and come up with totally different results, opposite results, then it leads one to believe if we can ever really know anything at all. But those two things, that quantum level that we can affect things on, and then the macro level that affects us as far as the collective consciousness, it's not in dispute anymore for me. I really believe that we have a connection to one another. I really do believe, and I'm scientifically minded. I'm a skeptic. I know a lot of people already, believe all this. They say, oh, of course we have psychic people, and of course we can do remote healing and all this. But I've always known that there's something to it, but I've been digging to find out exactly what it is, because I can't just say, okay, this exists, good enough. I have to understand to what degree it exists. Does a person have to work at becoming more, say, psychic? Is it really something that you have to learn, like people say? Or is it something that some people just have more than others? And there's a lot of speculation on these different connections we have. Complete speculation. As in, oh yeah, this is what the aliens told me, or this is what some channeler said. I want to look at it from the evidence we have, and through my reason, because I can't depend on anybody else to develop my ideas. But I have to look at the scientific evidence, because I can't do all the experiments myself. So we're all at the mercy of science to help us along our way. But we have to do our own experiments. Everybody's had the experience where somebody calls and they're going to call, or you're getting ready to text somebody and they text you, somebody you haven't talked to in months maybe. These are the small things where we go, oh, I knew that was you, and we don't think much of it. I want to know how we can utilize this ability to its maximum. And some people claim that they know how to do that, but all the centuries spent on understanding these things, and I still haven't seen the person who can say, okay, I can read your mind, I can know exactly what you're thinking, or I know, they can tell you everything about yourself. You have guys like John Edwards, who goes on TV and tells people little bits about themselves and gets them all excited. I say, oh yeah, he's a real psychic. What's he doing for you? Guys like that have always made me skeptical. We need, if we're going to talk about a psychic, you need somebody who, if they're going to use it as a tool, they have to know how to utilize it completely. And I think that we're all kind of trying to figure out how the connection goes, like how my mood affects you. If I'm in a bad mood and you see me in a bad mood, it can put you in a bad mood. But is that just because you see me in a bad mood and you think about it, or is that something that's an actual vibratory level, a vibe? They've done a lot of experiments where they bring grumpy people into a room of happy people and vice versa. And whenever they find things that are just outrageous in their discoveries, they just let it go, because people just can't understand how these things can be true. So my belief is that we all have this major connection to each other. I don't know if I wouldn't consider it supernatural in any way. It's just a natural state of existence. And humans are amazing creatures. And whatever God is, and whatever the ethereal realm is, wherever we go when we die, whether we reincarnate, these are all questions that people have wanted to answer for a long time. But the ones that we can't answer what's really going to happen in the end, but we can hope to answer what we can do with the tools that we have while we're here. How good is intuition? How valuable is intuition? Or will it throw you off? So we're learning to use the tools of our minds to make life easier. I think it's just like something I heard earlier about happiness. He says, happiness is just a natural state. Unhappiness takes work. And I think that awareness is the same way. It takes work to be unaware. We're aware by nature. but it depends on how much we let the external world influence us. So, I don't know. I just don't know. We'll find out.